Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Enjoy your snow day.
Good morning, Fred. We have a few
Good
people.
morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, it's great. It's snowing out.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty wild out there.
Yes. It looks
Connie and
like
Jenna, do you guys want to give it another minute or do you want to jump in?
I don't know. What do you think? I'm not sure if Danny and Joe are turning on their cameras or not, or maybe not.
No worries. We could start off with introductions if we want to do that, Connie, and then, if anyone else joins, great. But we could start there if that works, just so everyone's familiar with each other.
Sounds good. Well, welcome to the first of Ardsley's Village Chats in 2024. I'm very happy to say that I have a new partner in crime with Jenna Schneider, who's joining as our second, or I'm going to put her in first place, village representative, because she really took the lead this year to get the ball rolling. And I'm very, very happy to be working with Jenna to hopefully activate our community, our business community, to really work with the chamber to get programming set up and excitement in our village. And I know that Nancy and Joe have also, given us some support there to really try to activate and see what we can do for our community to really make it thrive or continue to thrive and grow. We have on board with us Nancy. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Joe, good to see you as always. I don't know who Danny is, so maybe he'd want to introduce himself a little later on, but we have a new president in Danielle Davidson, and she's done an amazing job thus far. And of course, we have Dina, who's been our past treasurer and maintains us in good standing, but she's also taken on a new role. So these are just some of the members with the Rivertown Chamber that really feel a need to get all of our communities together and working together to really make it a better place to raise our families. So with that said, Danielle, maybe
Yeah, that was awesome, Connie. Thank you so much. And Jenna, yeah, thank you so much for joining the board. I know that we've had a bunch of meetings thus far in the start of the year. We had our first general member meeting on January 31st, I think it was, right? So, and we had amazing turnout. We ended up doing it at a 9 a.m. slot instead of our typical 5 p.m. slot. So for those of you who weren't able to make it or haven't joined the chamber yet, it's great to see the turnout that we had for our first meeting. We are trying to update the structure of these all member and village chats to include a little bit of an agenda. So like Connie did, a little bit of an introduction. We'd love to hear from members, community members. Everyone in Ardsley or outside of Ardsley are open to join these meetings, same as our other village chats for Dobbs, Hastings, and Irvington. We really just want to get as many people participating in these conversations as possible. So thank you all so much for joining, and Nancy for participating as well. That's kind of where we're going to start, I think, is just kind of do a little bit of, introductions for Fred, Joe, and Danny and Nancy, if you'd like to chat as well, but just kind of hear what everyone's up to, the businesses that you lead, and then we can go from there. Fred, if you'd like to kick off, maybe.
Sure.
Great.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name's Fred Childs. I'm with the MVR agency, and we're right there in Adams Square, right by the clock. And we've been a part of Ardsley for, well, we're going into our 101st year. So, and just so you know, so Danny is an associate of ours. He's our marketing person at MVR agency. And it's yeah, we just recently joined. I was at the breakfast over there. That was a great turnout. I tried to speak to you, Danielle, but everyone was after you that morning.
A lot of conversations were had. Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get to chat in person, but I'm happy to see you here. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no worries. I was happy to meet Jenna and Connie. So, But we're an insurance agency. We do all kinds of insurance on the personal side, whether it's home, auto, boat, motorcycle, life, health. And then commercial side, we do, business insurance for all types of businesses.
Wonderful. Thank you and Danny for joining us.
Sure.
Joe, would you like to jump in quickly and introduce yourself?
Sure. Joe Saratani, village manager, been with the village just over 2 years. Very proud and happy to be part of the team. It's a really lovely village. I've been working in the River Towns area for the last about 8 years. It's really a lovely spot. There's a lot of culture and art and wonderful businesses. Representing the village administration, I think we try to do all we can to help out the business community. And certainly I think being part of these discussions will be helpful, where we could help each other.
Awesome. Agreed. Thanks, Joe. Steve, would you like to jump in quickly and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Steve Edelstein. I'm on the board of trustees of the village, the deputy mayor, and in December was named the liaison to our merchants and business owners. Recently I've been going around with our new community policing officer, introducing ourselves to the businesses and getting contact information from them so that if there's anything after hours or anything like that, there's a number we have besides the business number to get in touch with somebody, and just a good way of us, connecting with our businesses. So we've gone out a couple of times and we're just doing an hour at a time and checking out different parts of our village business district. And so far it's been very good.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And then Nancy, do you want to jump in quickly?
No, I think Joe and Steve have sort of covered it all. I'm really happy that Steve has taken on this new role. It's something that I have thought was important all along. I started a list of our businesses, and he's really going to be completing it. So we have contact information for all of our businesses going forward. I do have a couple of ideas on what we can do now that we have really a host of lots of different kinds of restaurants. I have a concept for a Taste of Ardsley kind of an event that we can do, but it's always been my desire to work with and enhance our businesses. So I'm really happy and always been supportive of the chamber to try to get this moving.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to chat more about the Taste of Ardsley. That sounds like a similar event we host with the chamber across the villages. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing. I know we wanted to brainstorm a little bit, Connie, right, and Jenna, on just like some ideas to kind of get more of the Ardsley businesses participating with the chamber. If we kind of want to start that conversation now, whatever you both think is best.
Well, I'm going to just sort of defer to Steve because he's had a lot of the one-on-one conversations with some of our businesses, and I'm not sure what conversations he's had regarding the chamber, or even if some of them are aware of the chamber.
Also, Nancy, may I ask you, with respect to the Taste of Ardsley, I assume that's similar to what the chamber's been doing the past couple of years. Do you have a timeline for it, or?
No, this is truly an idea that is still here.
Okay.
Without anything beyond that. Okay.
Okay, I think that's someplace where we have some experience in handling. I think we could definitely be a partner there.
Right, but Steve has really been the one that's had the most direct contact with the businesses and what they feel we can help them with or not help them with. So I'm going to defer to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really specifically asked them about the chamber. I'm happy to raise it as we continue to walk around. Most of the conversations have been really very cordial, and I think they also take a lot of pride in the village. So you know, I think finding different ways to engage them would be great. And I was talking with the owner of the River Rock music school,
Mhm.
and he's super enthusiastic, and we're sort of brainstorming ideas about, well, maybe some of their teen bands could open for our summer concert series or something. So as I engage with them, I'm certainly happy to talk more about it. And the more I know about the chamber, and what its advantages are for them, the more that I can engage them on that.
Steve, maybe Jenna and Danielle, we can all get together for coffee one morning and brainstorm so we can share exactly what the chamber does for its new members. We have ribbon cuttings, we can do marketing for them. So there's a way for us to help them grow their presence in the community. And the more you know, the more you can share with them, or perhaps maybe some of your meetings with them, one of us can join you. Maybe that's something may not be the first introduction since you're going out with our new policing officer, but we'd be more than happy, at least I would be more than happy to do that with you as well, because the chamber does do wonderful things for new businesses and existing businesses.
Terrific.
Yeah, and just to kind of double down on that, I know that internally at the chamber we've been talking a lot about getting some boots on the ground in Ardsley and going door to door. So it's great to hear that you're doing that anyway. And like Connie said, we're happy to give as much information as possible to kind of even pamphlets or whatever it is to hand out while you're at some of these meetings that might be helpful. But yeah, that's definitely something we've all been talking about, is just kind of like, how do we get, in the door and just introduce ourselves? Because, a lot of these businesses in Ardsley have been around for a while, and they're in their day to day and just don't know about the new things that are going on. And the chamber started a little bit over 6-7 years ago. So, we're fairly new in that regard. So, what we'd love to do that. It's definitely been something that we have been chatting a bit about internally. So
Great. And I know, and I know the PBA would be happy to engage with you all as well, in terms of working with them and getting the businesses to support their events and activities.
Awesome. In terms of the new businesses that are opening up, I know Nancy mentioned as well, there are a bunch of restaurants and things like that. I know there are a couple of I think like delis and things of that nature opening in Ardsley in the coming months. I'm curious, does anyone get like that roster typically, or like what is that process like when a new business opens in Ardsley?
I'm not sure I understand your question, but I mean, it's like any business, they go through a process of opening up a business. If it's a change of use for a particular spot or something like that, there's board approvals and sign approvals and things like that. But I'm not sure I fully understand your question.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering more along the lines of like, when a new business opens up, is there someone that you guys have contact with that we can, be that kind of, in addition to working closely with the town, just first line of defense and like, welcome to Ardsley, and also here's some information about the chamber, something along those lines, or if it's kind of more like Steve was mentioning, like boots on the ground effort of walking in and saying hi.
Well, I really think it's what Steve is really initiating here. We haven't really had that before. I've been to a couple of ribbon cutting ceremonies with the chamber. I think Iron Health was one of them. We did a couple years ago. Ardsley Eye Care, we did when they became, I don't even know if they're still members, but when they first opened up. But that was really the only way I really knew about that, is because they invited me to it, not because I had any knowledge of it beforehand.
Okay.
Of what that event was happening. But I think one of the things that Steve is really trying to work on here is to have better communication with the villages, not just when they're new, but going forward as well.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, the potential new businesses have to come before us, as they're getting approval for,
Mhm.
building out their spaces and all of that. But as Nancy said, in terms of when it's a go, we don't usually get notification of when they open their business unless they've invited us directly to be part of some sort of a ribbon cutting ceremony. I suppose we could, as think about entry points as they're going through the process where we can, engage with them about, being in touch when they're ready to go, and if they want to, if they want some sort of a hoopla event, that we're happy to participate.
Mm.
And
I do know the two current businesses that are waiting to open, the deli and the ramen noodle place, they're both waiting on county board of health inspections. So, I have no idea when that's going to happen, or we have no idea when that's going to happen. So I assume as soon as that happens, they both are very anxious to open because it's been some time for both of them. But that's not a communication that we have.
Mhm.
That makes sense. I guess just to kind of bring in current members. So I know Fred, you're newer to the chamber. I'm curious if there, and I don't mean to put you on the spot just because you're just one of our few members on the call right now, but any conversations you've kind of had anecdotally about, joining the chamber or familiarity with the River Towns Chamber of Commerce by any chance? Just kind of curious about how, the temperature check, I guess, is what I'm wondering a bit.
Yeah, so the river towns, so I live in Mahopac, and I was I was did some things, with the Mahopac Chamber, the Yorktown Chamber,
Mm.
through my networking. I know somebody in the Eastchester Chamber. So, I've been around, a lot of different chambers. Um, and the Rivertown, I keep calling it Riverstown. I'm sorry.
I did the
The
same thing. It's
Rivertown's
okay.
Chamber, the Rivertown's Chamber, like you said, was fairly new. Didn't really know a whole lot about it. But it's just kind of we're in Ardsley, so we just felt that it's something we should really have a presence to hear. Um, so that's why we joined, and we're looking forward to I offered to Jenna we could walk around and just talk to different businesses, and see. So Liebman's is the deli. They're in Adamant Square. So, and they're actually a client of ours. So, as they get their approval, I can certainly let you guys know, when they're going to open. But yeah, they're waiting on the Board of Health. But yeah, so just happy to help out and volunteer and do what we can. And I know one of the things I spoke to Jenna about. So prior to COVID, they had an Ardsley Day. So I was just wondering, if that's something that maybe we could even bring back. I know a lot of people have always talked, well about that event. So just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Connie, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Dina. I was just going to say,
No, I was just saying about Ardsley Day. That was something that we were talking about last year as well. Nancy, I think we were in all those conversations. And what came, I don't remember exactly why we pushed it off. Was it that there was just not enough consensus to move forward? Was that the problem? Okay. So perhaps we just, try again, maybe with Steve now being out there meeting all the
And the new
businesses and
businesses that are coming
Yeah.
to Ardsley, maybe they'd be more interested to really get something going.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the challenge with Ardsley Day, in addition to being a lot of work to put it on,
Mhm.
is that Ardsley does not really have great space in terms of where to have it. So where in Dobbs you can close off the street, because we have 9A in the middle.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit challenging, which is I think one of the reasons the mayor was thinking about this sort of moving food idea, which allow the businesses to sort of be in place and people come to them, and it also gets people in the door of their businesses. So that's why that I think, and one of the reasons that started percolating was, you know, how to work with what we have and sort of it'd still create a festive event, but you know, if we were trying to have like Ardsley Day in so you know, it's challenging to have it in our downtown district, which would be ideal. If we moved it to the park, then you know, the business has to figure out how to set up in the park, you know, the restaurants and things like that, and they have to get personnel over there. So it makes it a bit of a challenge. You know, obviously we've done it before, so it can be done, but you know, we're just trying to play with different ideas, that different ways to engage, but which is not to say that we wouldn't entertain the idea of Ardsley Day, but there's certainly, you know, there are challenges to it.
And I just also like Steve, you know, one of the things we can talk about when we go around to visit, you know, different businesses is the River Towns Chamber. I mean, you have a large email, a lot of emails for different businesses. So if they're having an event at their business, you know, that's something where if they had a flyer, you could send it to the chamber, and then the chamber would, you know, put that out to all, you know, on their list, on their email list.
Yeah, we
So
have
that's
a few different avenues that we share our member information through. So one is our community events calendar on the website. So any business that wants to self-submit an event that they're hosting at their business, we upload it onto our community calendar. If they tag us on Instagram, we generally repost any of our member information. We're doing that so many times a day, so you'll see a lot of information there. And then yes, exactly, like in our email roundups that we typically do on a monthly basis, we include any member information for events that businesses are holding. So yeah, there are a lot of different avenues in terms of communication that the Rivertowns Chamber of Commerce like really leans into. So that's definitely a huge benefit for a lot of our members.
Danielle, Nancy, I think that the best way for us as a chamber to communicate to Ardsley is to be a part of the weekly newsletter, Joe, that you create. To have a section on there that consistently has some messaging from the chamber, whether it be a new member, whatever news is happening that week, so that we get on the radar consistently, not just when an event is being planned, like the Ardsley Village chat, you know, a week before we make the announcement. But if we have a small section dedicated to either joining the chamber or or listing a new business, an event, that will keep us top of mind with the community members. Just like I look to the newsletter every single week to see what are we doing with the pollinator? What are we doing with it's a great way to communicate and to have a presence consistently for Ardsley without them having to go to the chamber communications or the chamber website. So if there's a way we can get on your programming, Joe, give us the deadline, and maybe we have a consistent you know, line to you. This is this week's newsletter for the chamber. Can you please include? Again, that's up to the village whether they're in agreement with that, but I think that would be a great help.
You know what? I think I wrote that down, and we will go back and discuss that amongst ourselves, and get back to you with that. I just want to say that the person opening the deli in Adamant Square is partners with Craig Whites, who was part of the Orange, who was part of the chamber at one time. So I don't know if he's still a chamber member with his other business, but he is the partner of the person opening up the deli in Adamant Square.
Thank you.
Maybe just to help us kind of make our decision, send me over some of the content that you were thinking about including. I think maybe one of the hesitations previously was probably wanted to keep it focused on Ardsley and not the greater River Towns area. So if you could send me Or well, it would be Nancy and Steve. Just to send us what you were thinking. I think that'll help. Because we really want to keep it focused on Ardsley, I think.
Yeah, and maybe it's just the new businesses that we're welcoming, either whether they're members or not members of the chamber yet. We'll come up with something.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, Connie. Like even just, welcoming Fred into the Chamber of Commerce, just highlighting that he's recently joined. And, I know Best of Westchester just, is being released in terms of nominations. So if there are any Ardsley businesses, just like a congratulate, those types of little things as just kind of a mention and a highlight of those businesses, I think is definitely, it's nice. It makes people feel nice, I think.
Well, I think you have to take it one step further, though, not just for the new businesses or the new members of chamber. If we were going to go this week, you really have to do like a business highlight too. I mean,
I was just going to say that
to have focus only on the newer businesses or the newer members, and that maybe that's a way to get increased involvement in the chamber. But we have some very long, I know Lenencio's was always a member for a very long time. River Arts is a brand new business. We have actually a couple of, we have an eye doctor that will be opening up on Ashford Avenue that actually is moving from Dobbs Ferry. But I think we have a new Szechuan restaurant and, a new Thai restaurant. These are, highlighting some of the other businesses that have been here a while too.
And also not to forget those businesses that are not brick and mortar. I know we obviously have, a focus we do with all the villages, but overall the chamber's population of members is split pretty much between the brick and mortars, the downtowns, and the remote businesses like myself. And I want to reach those folks as well. That we even talked about, I think Danielle, didn't we even talk about doing like a virtual ribbon cutting for those
Yeah.
businesses like you and me who are stuck inside our living room?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, both Dina and I, run businesses from home, and there are two different types of businesses. Mine's service, hers is product, but it's, being part of the chamber, we're equal members, and in the chamber. So yeah, I think, like Dina mentioned, like virtual ribbon cuttings and just like highlighting some of those businesses that are just in the apartment buildings above the brick and mortars. It is really important. And we definitely want to capture their participation as well. Yeah, so I love that. I think we could start to make that list and see who we have.
And
Nancy,
referrals,
also what's being planned for the balance of the year are some small mini virtual educational seminars,
Oh, yeah.
which I think would be of benefit to the new businesses or the existing businesses. They're just, marketing 101. Danielle, you can go further, but there's other types of educational programming that we could offer services to the community, the business community. That can be part of the newsletter as well. I think we should think we'll go, Dina, Danielle, we'll talk about what we feel could be the content on a weekly basis for the newsletter. And then Nancy, Joe, you guys decide whether you think it's valuable or not to have it there.
Yeah, we'll consult with Regina also, who basically owns our newsletter. So she gets all the content, she runs through it, and she can, better put it together for us and give you a presentation that I think you like. Okay, great.
Yeah, one business that comes to mind that I know is planning an event, I think now it's for the spring, is Ardsley Market. Do you remember the timing of that, Joe? They were going to close off their parking lot and
the Boar's Head event. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was in maybe March.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check.
Right.
But that might be a business that you want to reach out to sooner rather than later and let them know that you can help to, publicize the event and, whatever else.
Was it an anniversary for Boar's Head? 100th anniversary? Who knows?
They were named some sort of high Boar's Head vendor or something. And so Boar's Head is coming in to, do some event.
Great.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like it. Cool.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Well, I think we've covered quite a bit. What do you think, guys?
I think great. Too bad there's no, we don't have a county update that was on the agenda, but I guess Shari wasn't able to attend this time. She usually tries to pop in when she can. But I don't think I have anything on my list of things.
Oh, I
to
do
talk
have
about.
one question.
You do? Okay.
The calendar of events, that were not necessarily all fine-tuned, Nancy, or I forget where I got the events from. Do we have definitive dates yet? I did not look at the website yet to see if the dates were finalized for some of our upcoming 2024 plans.
I can tell you the dates that we have for our AMDI committee. And probably the events for rec are on the website, but I
Yep.
have to double check that. We
No,
are
they are.
actually having an Eid Ramadan event on March 8th. That from 6 to 8, that will be the lighting of a crescent moon in Legion Park. You'll see notices go out about that, and then a party and celebration afterwards at the community center. Our holy event is going to be on April 21st. We're having an AAPI event on May 15th. We're trying to coordinate with Dobbs Ferry on a Pride event. That's June 23rd. I think the date is still in the works. Our Juneteenth event will be on June 15th. And we are actually hosting a series of meeting events. We're having a quilt project where we'll be meeting, Steve, how many Sundays is it? Like 5 Sundays?
I think it's more. We're meeting April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, I think it's seven Sundays from April through October.
And we're creating a community quilt. Hoping
love
that people come to the Sunday meetings. There'll be fabric and we have a textile artist who is planning this and creating. People will create their own squares that ultimately will be put together as a community quilt of who we are and who we want to be and expressions of hope and unity. So that's an ongoing.
Sounds like it's going to be a
project
king size quilt.
Well, we hope so, and we're also talking that this can be an ongoing project. So that this will be a first round, and then
Right. And it may be
see
more
how we-
than one quilt. It actually may be,
Yeah.
more than one quilt.
A
And listen,
pillowcase.
I hope that it's 2 king size quilts. I hope we get that much participation.
Yeah.
the
But
one other
it's
event.
also going to encompass, conversation. It's to sit and to do something together and to promote conversation. There'll be facilitators that will be within each group that meets and multiple groups that meet on the Sundays to promote community conversation.
I love it.
Where will the quilts be displayed, Nancy?
Oh,
Ultimately, where will they live?
You're really looking down the road here,
I'm
right?
just curious. I want to go see it.
I have a couple of ideas about it. I think that, I'd love to see something displayed in one of our parks, but I'm always concerned about weather.
Mm.
I would love to see the quilt ultimately displayed behind the village board dais where we have our meetings so that it is seen on our meetings for a period of time, because I think that will begin to highlight what it is, and then ultimately have it displayed in Village Hall or the library and the community center so that it has real circulation.
Right.
Okay,
That sounds
that's
beautiful.
great.
That
Yeah.
really sounds lovely.
The one other event I wanted to mention was our Pollinator Pathway Group and Garden Club are holding our second spring gardening event on March 10th at the community center. I think can't remember if it's 1 to 4 or something like that. And it's to promote the goals of the pollinator pathway of native and perennial plants, but also to give our residents some tips about their own gardens and how to do that. But that event was very well attended last year.
Nice. Okay.
It's
Thank you.
from noon to 4:30. on March 10th,
Perfect.
just in case you don't think I have any social life at all. So let's just do all these things on Sundays.
Wonderful.
And then there's our regular, rec department events. There'll be, music, concerts in the park coming up, and and we're planning another food truck event in the park, and
Ice cream social in June at
the ice
the
cream
end
social
of the
in
school
June.
year.
So, we have all of those things that are always part of our rotation.
Great. Well, this was super informative. I feel like it was a great start to the year, and nice to start off this village chat with all of the upcoming events, and also just ways that we can get a bunch of community members and businesses involved with the chamber. So we'll regroup internally at the chamber, and then also I know, Joe, you guys are going to talk about feasibility for Rivertown's chamber updates in your Ardsley newsletter circulation. So we have some homework on both ends, but looking forward to connecting more and making this a good year for Ardsley and the Rivertown's Chamber of Commerce. So thank you all for joining.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see everyone. Bye.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
great snow
Thank you,
day.
everybody.
You too.
Make
Bye.
some snow angels. Bye.